Find the idea. NC5 plus works only if one defender is overloaded. What would you play? Now rewind. Beat Zueger has white against Zueger-Polgar in Bielshev. The point is not to memorize moves. In this episode, track the quiet mystery. The natural answer, the piece with too many jobs, and the square that proves the tactic was prepared. If a move does not change one of those things, we move quickly. If it does, we stop and turn it into a question you can use at the board. First quiet clue. This move earns its screen time by changing the open file before the forcing line appears. This is the first real clue. Now 11. E5 is the next pressure test after 2. C5. Second pressure move. It makes a later tactic believable by improving the bishop route or limiting a reply. The previous checkpoint, 2. C5, changed the defender map before 11. E5. 11. E5 sets up the next question at 19. Rg1 plus. Pause here. What square became harder to defend after 11? E5? Third tempo hit. A quiet defense would be nice, but this check makes the back rank room urgent. Rg1 plus spends a tempo for the king. Where does counterplay go? The board is already drifting from 19. Rg1 plus toward 22. NXD6 plus. Fourth king safety audit. If the reply damages the loose defender, the next tactic gets easier. Look back one checkpoint. 19. Rg1 plus made the position fragile enough for 22. NXD6 plus. This is the bridge to 23. Rg2 plus where the defender has fewer choices. Fifth initiative in plain sight. The motive detail matters because the forced reply still needs an answer. That is why 24. RxD2 plus is not just notation. It is a new problem created by 23. Rg2 plus. Sixth collapse warning. The check forces a reply while the pawn shield stays weak. A quiet detail from 23. Rg2 plus is still hanging in the air when 24. Rxd2 plus arrives. Seventh timing question. If the defender spends this move on survival, which square became a highway? 25. Qf4 plus sets up the next question at 26. Qxh2 plus. Eighth check with a purpose. The king answers first, so the trade choice can decide the next move. After Qxh2 plus, can the king and defender both stay useful? The board is already drifting from 26. Qxh2 plus toward 28. Nd5 plus. Ninth forcing checkpoint. Counterplay pauses while we inspect the entry point. Which defender cannot cover both threats? The previous checkpoint, 26. Qxh2 plus, changed the defender map before 28. Nd5 plus. This is the bridge to 29. Qxd6 plus, where the defender has fewer choices. 10th tempo hit. A quiet defense would be nice, but this check makes the rook lift urgent. What does Qxd6 plus reveal about the king's real cover? That is why 31. Exd7 is not just notation. It is a new problem created by 29. Qxd6 plus. 11th trade with a price tag. If the defender recaptures or ignores it, ask which square is no longer free. Now 31. Rb8 plus is the next pressure test after 31. Exd7. Pause here. What line opened because 31? Exd7 forced the issue? 12th initiative in plain sight. The reveal detail matters because the shrinking route still needs an answer. 31. Rb8 plus sets up the next question at 32. Kxd7. 13th defender count changes. A safe-looking position turns into a trap when the rook entry has no spare helper. The board is already drifting from 32. Kxd7 toward 33. Nxf6 plus. 14th timing question. If the defender spends this move on survival, which diagonal lost protection? This is the bridge to 34. Bf4 where the defender has fewer choices. 15th quiet clue. This move earns its screen time by changing the back rank room before the forcing line appears. 33. Nxf6 plus is the clue that makes 34. Bf4 less random. That is why 35. NC5 plus is not just notation. It is a new problem created by 34, BF4, 16th forcing checkpoint. Counterplay pauses while we inspect the overload. Which piece has two jobs? The previous checkpoint, 34, BF4, changed the defender map before 35, NC5 plus. Now 36, B3 is the next pressure test after 35, NC5 plus. Pause here. Did 35, NC5 plus change material, tempo, or access first? No fireworks yet, but the trap is getting organized around move 36. Watch the tempo race. Who has to answer first? 36. B3 sets up the next question at 37. RF1 plus. 18th king safety audit. If the reply damages the pawn shield, the next tactic gets easier. Look back one checkpoint. 36. B3 made the position fragile enough for 37. RF1 plus. The board is already drifting from 37. RF1 plus toward 37. Q4. This is how initiative grows before the punchline. The move does not win immediately, but it changes the central square. This is the bridge to 38. NC5 plus, where the defender has fewer choices. 20th collapse warning. The check forces a reply while the trade choice stays weak. A quiet detail from 37. Q4 is still hanging in the air when 38. NC5 plus arrives. Pause here. What square became harder to defend after 38? NC5 plus? The threat is still partly hidden. That is why this move is dangerous. It improves the queen access before the tactic announces itself. That is the proof behind the finish. The lesson from Zueger-Polgar queen move wins instantly is concrete. The final tactic works because the earlier moves changed the defender map. In the My Chess Coach lesson, replay the quiet mystery positions, solve the puzzles, and name the clue before the payoff. The candidate move, the overloaded piece, or the square that changed. Then run the same checklist in your own game before you grab material or defend automatically. That turns this finish into a pattern you can recognize in real positions, not just a highlight you admire once.